Now, last week, which was probably mid of February 2022, there was a hashtag trending on social media platforms, hashtag lower food prices. So now, what began as a conversation about lowering food prices evolved into a conversation about one, who is sponsoring this post? Why is this post very popular right now? And two, it became, okay, so one party against the other saying, these guys have been ruling and look at the prices. The other one saying, before we came into the picture, this is what it looks like, but after we leave this place, it will look so good. Or there was a comparison of prices before handshake, after handshake, food prices. So all things said and done, food prices are quite high. Actually, not quite. They have pretty much doubled. So with me, I have my friend who will introduce himself, and then we are going to get into the conversation about food prices. Why are they as high as they are right now? What can be done, and etc. So, karibu.
Asante.
Introduce yourself.
I am Rarieya Asin.
Karibu sana.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I will ask you. I'll get right into the question. So, food prices have always gone up and come down. I'm lacking the proper words, but they've always fluctuated, right? However, there has been a trend where it's kind of been on an increase, on an incline. So 2020, we attributed that to COVID. And then 2021 came, still the spike continued. We are now in 2022 and the spike still continues to go up. Why is this? What are the factors influencing food prices?
Food is a commodity that's produced, and it's dependent on its production is dependent on so many other factors. In 2016 thereabouts, the government admitted that its finances were in disarray. That was the first time that they publicly commented on it. And the only logical route out of the mess, the financial fiscal mess they were in, was going to the IMF.
Okay.
And they went to the IMF. IMF sent a team, and the team on leaving said they would be back in about 6 months.
Okay.
To check if what they had said to be done is being done or is done.
So the sanctions?
Not really sanctions,
okay,
but it's they call them programs.
Okay.
They call them programs. So when the IMF comes in, then things are usually bad. It's like when you call in the fire brigade. And when IMF comes in, they look at your house, it's on fire, yes, and they tell you, we won't put out the fire just yet. You need to do this and this and this. Then maybe we'll put out the fire. Case in point,
the sanctions during Moi's era. Yeah?
Not sanctions, but...
I don't know, I keep calling them sanctions, but yes, okay.
This is...
the stipulations.
Yes. This is more of a 2.0. Okay. You can call it that, structural adjustment programs. That's what they call them. So when they come in, the fire brigade, the IMF comes in. Before we put out the fire, you need to do this and this and this. The house is still on fire.
Okay.
And we'll come back. So they come back, the house is still on fire. Okay, you've done this and this and that. So we will put out room A and room 2. Okay. So we will let room 3 burn to the ground. And we will leave room 4 smoldering. So that if you don't do what we told you to do, we'll come and...
You remember.
if so to speak. So this is with the programs, they select. They say the governments need to defund this, the governments needs to privatize this, and that. What I know of what's on public record, because the government did not come out and say this is what they want us to do under the program. One thing is water went up.
Yes, water bills.
Yeah, water bills. The IMF said this is, you need to up the prices for this. There's the one of the Jubilee hallmarks, last connectivity, electricity connection to lower income areas. So what happens is that low income areas get it on the cheap, but then it's subsidized by the higher consumers. So one thing, power tariffs needed to go up, and this subsidy for the low income, IMF doesn't like subsidies for the lower incomes. They don't like that. Tuition fee in government funded university students, that went up.
Yes.
Shot through the roof.
So.
Yeah. So, and there's still more. There's still more to be done. So I think next will be public healthcare. Okay.
So what you have just said is very chilling, given that there's still other areas that might soon be affected by the move by our government to ask for help from IMF and the World Bank, right? So we are in this mess already. What can be done? We are in a position where it's not just food prices that have increased. What we're talking about is food prices, but as you have pointed out, other things have also increased. So what can be done in terms of structural programming? And secondly, as individuals, what can individuals do in this situation?
As an individual, you need to tighten your belt, but you can only tighten it so far.
Right.
All said and done, this is a direct consequence of Jubilee administration's hubris, blunder, plunder of public resources.
Right.
We still rely on rain-fed agriculture in this day and age. That cannot be done. That cannot really lower the cost of food. Another thing, we don't have plantations anymore.
You say it like it's such a bad thing.
No, we don't have them. What we have is subsistence agriculture. People tilling plots. That for sure is not sustainable in the long run. So, as an individual, you need to tighten your belt and be careful who you vote for.
Right.
And how you vote, because whoever is to take over, it will need a lot of doing to undo the mess that we currently are in.
Last week, the president said that he is leaving a nation that has a budget of, I think, 15 trillion. I mean, we know most of it is coming from debt, but that is what he said. So when you say that there's a lot of doing and undoing to be done, what are some departments in the government that some money can be reallocated to, so that there's a decline in the cost of living?
Kenya is technically insolvent. Kenya is broke.
Terribly.
When you call in the IMF, then things are usually out of control. It's more of you giving up and telling somebody to take over and get us out of this. In 2017, there was a government circular that all parastatals were to hand over their surplus cash to the treasury. They were to hand over their bonds, everything, to the treasury. What this basically meant was that they were giving everything they had and then now coming back to the national government for funds.
Yeah.
When government departments that are being funded, for example, the judiciary, they have a budget of, let's say, 100 million. Out of this, they let the government know that we can raise 220 million through fines and all those things. So what the national government budgets for is the 80 million. That's what they budget for. But then when you take our surplus and everything, now we have to come back to you for everything.
Okay. So in the here now, it is a ridiculous mess, and we are in electioneering year, which typically around this time is when we are quoted, the citizens are quoted by the incoming government or the outgoing government, and things like food prices are reduced, sexy things, food prices are reduced, prices of commodities go down, so that you forget all that has happened and you vote better. Okay, not really better, but you vote for them, like depending on the amnesia for katikati. Do you think this is about to happen? Are we about to be quoted with using lower prices and nice things like that?
Highly unlikely.
Okay.
Because everything has gone up. As usual, sugar always goes up. If they don't just blatantly up the price, they usually hoard it and create an artificial shortage. So once the shortage kicks in, people say, just give us the sugar. We don't care how much you're asking for.
Letter too.
Well, later. And so they bring it. They haven't done that yet, but it's still too early to call it. Okay. So they might sell it to us at a premium now. Then when a month or weeks to the election, then they take it back to where it's supposed to be. And then we'll say, oh, at least they've done something. But have they really done something?
Right. So we have covered that in the here now we are in a mess, and there just might be no solution. There might be no one coming to save us, right? So you mentioned something about the role of people having small farms in their backyards and things like that. Is there a place for subsistent farming in this economy, and particularly to ride us through this rough period?
No, not really, because when you join the dots, there's a pattern to this madness.
Okay.
Flowers for export are never affected.
Hardly ever, yeah.
Hardly ever. But why then, when my spinach, kales, and maize are affected, are often affected? So there's a pattern to it. So I will say that the rot starts from the top.
Okay.
All these problems are political. You take care of the politicians and the politics, and everything will be okay. If anything, the people who got us in this mess, at that point in time, Treasury, Cabinet Secretary Rotich, and his PS Tuge, and the central bank manager, these are all Ivy League educated individuals. So it's not a lack of knowledge or incompetence. I might say it is weaponized incompetence.
Weaponized incompetence.
So, yeah. So it's deliberate and calculated. So the question really is, who benefits out of this mess?
I would like to have, on a later date, I would like to explore a conversation on budget allocation within the government as it currently is, and where is this money going to? Who is giving us this money? What are some of the things that we need to if we ask for a certain loan, what are some of the bare minimums that we need to achieve? As we have seen, China is a very willing lender. It doesn't really care about what IMF has done. I mean, it doesn't really give constrictions, but that's a conversation for another time. In the here and now, thank you for indulging us in this conversation. Is there anything you would like to say as a parting shot?
Tighten your belts.
It's about to get rough. Okay, guys, I am laughing, but it is no laughing matter. I mean, food is serious. I take food very seriously. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being here, and thank you for agreeing to doing the interview.
Thanks for having me.
Karibu sana. So up until a later date, I will see you. I hope you interact with us for our comment section. Feel free to ask questions, give us your thoughts, your 2 cents on this whole matter, and see you next time. Bye.